Now you guys know that I have often talked about the red pill and the blue pill, the simulation which we are all living in but unaware of. The simulation which I believe will be much more profound than just wearing a virtual headset. I've often thought that you could have 8 projectors in a room, one in each corner, and as long as the room was perfectly white and you had something like these guys do, which is basically two Xbox Connects that track his motion in the room, or some wearable trackers on the limbs and on your core, probably woven into your gloves and your haptic feedback vest. This would be a lot more impressive than just wearing goggles. You can see here that these guys have actually done this, the guys here at Theories. They're a French company that is making a real life holodeck. This uses light layered on top of light. Just like the two brothers who created film, the Lumiere brothers. These two brothers started basically what we know as the film industry today. They are the first people to capture and record video and then project it back out. They were using light, which is funny because their names were the Lumieres. Illumination. These guys here in France are doing much the same thing, but just layers of light being projected in such a way that it looks like you can actually interact with it. As you can see from this video, nothing from this video is done in post-editing. This is all achieved on camera. Just like looking at it with your very own eyes. Look how they're projecting a door and a hallway into an actual room. This is just the very beginning of this technology, but this is, I believe, where we're heading. Imagine a room like this with a hula hoop sized circle in the middle. And instead of playing World of Warcraft using a monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse, you just stand in the middle of that hula hoop, and whenever you want to run, you just face a direction and run in place, and you go jogging through the world of Warcraft or Skyrim or whatever. You can even have foam swords and axes and shields. This is the possibilities that we are looking forward to, I think.
The most common way to use a VR headset for gaming is to stand in an open room and use hand controllers so the software can track your hand movements in the VR world. But ever since VR's popularity spiked over the last 10 years, there has been hundreds of videos uploaded to social media showing lots of epic fail VR moments, such as lunging forward and smacking their head into the TV and breaking it, or jumping over the gap in the terrain in the VR world and ending up jumping into the wall of their house. It's for these reasons why I think VR has never really been taken up by the gaming masses. I can say for certain, they are the reasons why I've never bought one. But one company is trying to take personal gaming VR to the next logical level, with a machine called the Omni One.
These guys at Omni One are doing something a little bit different. They're creating an omnidirectional treadmill. This allows you to run in any direction. As you can see, it has this back system that allows you to stay centered on this plastic crater, and you wear these plastic slip shoes that allow you to slide in place. This is a much less elegant form of virtual reality, I feel. Yeah, you kind of can run, but really you're just like sliding on tile floor with your socks on, basically. It doesn't feel like real motion. I'd rather be in a room where I can run in place and actually see the world around me with my own eyes, actually swing a foam sword and kill an orc that is a foot in front of my face without having a visor on. I think that the holodeck is much more likely. You can see this omnidirectional treadmill they use in Ready Player One, which is basically a treadmill made of treadmills that go across the X and Y axis. there are several companies working on this type of technology that allows you to have 360 degrees of motion on a two-dimensional plane like we do in real life. This isn't as practical to me as a holodeck type situation. Maybe one where you didn't have to run in place, but you could actually interact with the entire room, and then your field of view would jump so that you could continue to move around in your room, but you'd always change location based on your proximity to a wall, like they do in Star Trek. If they want to place us into a meta reality, then they're going to have to do a lot better than this. Then you have the Microsoft Illuma Room, which I believe is kind of a dumbed down version of Theories, the system they have with the holodeck room with the 8 projectors. This just scans your room around your television and projects the images on your television as light around your screen, so you have a more all-encompassing type sensation. You feel like you're there a little bit more than you do whenever you're just playing on a small screen. It's pretty cool, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think it's pretty neat, especially when it has a colored version of exactly the room around you and it's widened as your field of view. I imagine it is quite immersive, but it's not nearly as good as Theories and their holodeck type room. The metaverse is supposed to be something that makes it so that you don't want to go back to reality. And I feel that you need something a little more groundbreaking than just basically a light system around your TV.
Currently, there are companies like Oculus with its Oculus Rift and Oculus Quest VR headset, which provides the immersive experience of being inside a game and interacting with the virtual world using the current touch controllers. But even this will soon be history, as Meta, the company behind Facebook, Oculus, and Metaverse, is working on something groundbreaking. A special glove that allows you to feel whatever you touch inside the Metaverse, or any other virtual reality world. With these VR Meta gloves, you'll literally feel anything you place your hands on. Join us today as we explore the endless possibilities of immersion in Facebook's Metaverse and take a deep dive on one of its most innovative technologies yet, the Meta Gloves. Ready Player One is considered the Bible of the Metaverse for a good reason. In the movie, we were practically handed the blueprint of an ideal virtual world and its boundless possibilities. For many companies in the VR/AR space, there has been an unspoken race towards exploring those possibilities. However, complete immersion sits at the very top of their priority list. To understand how complete immersion in virtual spaces can be achieved, we need to consider how we interact with our physical world. The way we determine the tangibility of a world is the sensation it gives our senses. If an alarm wakes you up in the morning, you've engaged your sense of hearing. When you open those heavy eyelids, you engage your sense of sight. And when you slam that lousy alarm with your fist, you engage your sense of touch. On a basic level, this is all that is required for you to believe that you are in the real world. All of that happens on a subconscious level. But the moment you touch something and you do not get any stimuli back, your conscious mind kicks in and you reckon that something is very wrong. In the metaverse, a lot of advances have been made in the departments of realistic sound and sight perception. However, the most exciting innovation has to be the Meta Gloves. For 7 years, Meta has been working secretly on a haptic glove that will replicate the sensation of touching, feeling, and holding in the metaverse. You will be able to feel sensations like grasping an object or running your hand along a surface. For the moment, Zuckerberg has stated that the technology is not yet ready for consumer use. You can even tell from the bare-bones look of the device. But we have been given enough of a preview to know what Meta's vision of VR and AR interaction will be. Meta's haptics prototype is a glove that is lined with around 15 ridged inflatable plastic pads, which are also known as actuators, and they fit snugly on its user's palm. When you think of it, the glove follows the basic principles of a regular VR controller. It has white markers like the ones you see in motion capture that let cameras track how the user's fingers move through the space. However, that is where all the similarities end and where the mind-blowing features of the Meta Gloves takes off. The gloves also have internal sensors that are sensitive to pressure and capture when and how the user's fingers bend. When you slip these gloves on in a VR/AR experience, the levels of inflation in the actuators adjust accordingly to what the virtual object is being held, touched, or felt. This creates pressure on that part of your hand. If you're touching a virtual object with your fingertips, you'll feel the sensation of that object pressing into your skin. If you're gripping a virtual item, the long finger actuators will stiffen, creating a sensation of resistance. These sensations work alongside visual and audio cues to produce the illusion of physical touch. This is a long way from the single-finger actuator that Meta developed in 2015 after buying Oculus from Palmer Luckey for $2.4 billion. One of the most progressive innovations in this tech is its movement from bulky motors to soft robotics. However, unlike other haptic devices, Meta is more inclined on mass-market gloves as opposed to producing for industrial markets. However, one of the more fascinating things is that the gloves are not only controllers being created for the Meta experience, but in 2019, Meta also acquired EMG wristbands, which is a device that tracks the movement through nerve signals. There are many things that the EMG gloves are capable of. However, one of the most impressive features is their ability to track the nerve signals your brain sends to your fingers while you're typing. This means that you can type on a virtual keyboard without physical buttons, and over time, the bands can slowly adapt to the way you type. While EMG bands are unique, they are best suited for other purposes other than for immersion in the metaverse. At the moment, there are a couple of barriers that stand in the way of creating consumer-ready haptic gloves. One of those barriers is the density of the glove's actuators, those inflatable ridged plastics we spoke of earlier. At the moment, the number of actuators in the gloves is hardly up to 100, but Meta wants to pump those numbers up to a few thousand in the coming years. The reason why this is important is because of the intricate perception of touch it gives. For example, an engineer in Meta's research lab, Catherine Healy, was quoted saying, "You could pet a dog, but you couldn't feel the texture." She was referring to the fact that the limited numbers of actuators on the glove won't allow for complex touch feedback. Another roadblock on the way to full realization of the Meta gloves is size. The current prototype of the Meta glove has the same feel the early versions of the Oculus Rift had. They were bulky, tethered, and big. Meta wants the device to be wireless, stylish, and so small that users can feel comfortable wearing it to real-world social functions that might not necessarily require the use of gloves. This is not too different from what they are planning for their Meta AR/VR glasses. Then there's the issue of fittings and maintenance. On the other hand, Meta is hoping that the gloves will be easily designable to custom fit users through something like 3D knitting. And on the other, Meta has a vision of their gloves being like actual fabric, washable. VR devices like Manus VR have this quality already, and maybe Meta might be taking a page from their book. Then there are security concerns. Digital gloves like Meta's can compromise its users' privacy and overall security. In a world where biometric prints are part of our unique identity, a Meta glove is fully capable of harvesting, storing, and selling your information. It doesn't help that Meta, once known as Facebook, has a reputation that still looms over the company and hasn't yet been salvaged. When it comes to Meta, all security concerns are valid concerns. However, Meta has reportedly started creating policies that govern how much data leaves users' devices and who has access to it. Now, while the progress Meta has made in the quest for immersion cannot be diminished, there is still a long road ahead if the company wants to reach the level of devices in the Oasis. One way to think about it is this. What if there's a blizzard in the metaverse? How do you feel the cold on your body? These are the questions that companies like Tesla Suit have been trying to answer. They created one of the first full-body haptic wireless suits, and it has Ready Player One written all over it. The wireless haptic bodysuit is created by a UK-based company that claims its invention can allow users to feel sensations in the virtual world. Now, while the suit has been created mainly for industrial use, it is still worth noting because when the metaverse goes live, we might be seeing a commercial version of the suit. The bodysuit works by using integrated electromuscular stimulation, which can simulate the feeling of a gentle breeze to the impact of a speeding bullet. Now, you might be asking who would want to put themselves through that kind of torture, and we understand that, but you need to understand that the sensation is being simulated, not recreated. From a technical perspective, the Tesla suit is a series of sensors that allows its wearer to feel the sensation of touch and movement. While most VR headsets focus on the visual part of the virtual experience, there's hardly anything to stimulate the individual reaction to the action appearing before them on the screen. The Tesla suit fills that gap by stimulating muscles in response to whatever virtual action is being witnessed or taken. It is also able to adjust the temperature to mimic the virtual environment it is in. Okay, so having tackled the issue of body simulation, the next step on the table of complete immersion is movement. When you are in the metaverse, movement becomes tricky. You do not want to hit your head or bump into objects around you, so you become painfully aware of your immediate environment. A company called GETTR VR might just have solved that problem. They created a pair of robotic boots called GETTR 1 that they claim will keep you in one spot even as you move around in your physical space while experiencing the movement in the virtual world. The shoes are made up of carbon fiber design, which the company has said is lightweight. This is a relief because the shoes look bulky. Underneath the GETTR 1 is two rotating plates that can twist to the direction the wearer is walking towards, which gives you the sensation of walking while keeping you in the same spot. There are also brakes that are employed when the user is standing, which ensure that they won't slip or fall. Now, while this solves the issue of walking in VR, the device does not support running, which is a huge letdown. Thankfully, another company has devoted all of its resources towards supporting both walking and running, and they look like a direct replica of the device used in the Oasis: omnidirectional treadmills. The most advanced omnidirectional treadmill on the market at the moment is the Virtuix Omni 1, which started development in 2013. Along with the treadmill itself, it comes with low-friction shoe covers and a harness. The harness holds its users in place as their feet slide either quickly or slowly across the platform. It also supports jumping, which I feel closes the lid on immersion. The metaverse might not yet be ready, but the accessories that will make it complete are already in the works, and the most amazing aspect is that innovation in this sector is not limited to one company.
As you probably know, we do not see anything, we simply see the light that it reflects. The world around us is a simulation. It is a vibration of photons hitting your eyes. That's all it is. A lot of people think this simulation that we are living in, this society, stems from Saturn. And as you can see here in Ready Player One, the switch to turn off the simulation is right below Saturn in Halliday's bedroom. The Saturn simulation theory is something I pay close attention to. Saturn and the moon, these things are more than we believe. These are repositories of information. These are wealths of knowledge. And as people partake in celebrations to honor these celestial bodies around you and live life like they should be living in places like the Bohemian Grove, where they enjoy life to the fullest, the web that is woven by these spiders is unweaving itself. These were women protesting the Bohemian Grove Club. They actually strung up a spider's web all around the Bohemian Grove in protest. Just like Arachne, the spider grandmother.